Well, in New York, the first day we got there, it was back-to-back interviews. They had the Roxy Theater was all set up. Each upstairs there's a hotel, and each room was different magazines or different actors or whoever was part of whatever movie was being shown at the Tribeca Film Festival. And so we stayed in one room, and each person that wanted to interview us would come in. So it was about 4 or 5 hours of interviews.
Oh, straight press! Jeez. Wow.
Yeah, just all day. So by the time I was done with like maybe the third, I was gone.
Yeah, and if you're not used to putting that kind of straining your voice that much, those plates are pretty loud. If you're not used to straining your voice that much, it's
no,
gonna be
I am.
rough.
I talk a lot.
Do you?
But that's not. I found out that's not what caused it. It's a cold in your throat.
Oh, okay.
Laryngitis is a cold in your throat, and what happens is, from you talking over that cold, that's what strains it and gets you hoarse.
I've been there.
Oh yeah, it sucks.
All right, we'll hop into this because we know you're busy, and we'll get to you got kids waiting in the car, everything like that, trying to get their ramen and stuff like that. We're here with Mama Troy, wife of the legendary Bradley Nowell of Sublime. Rest in peace. Thank you so much for doing this.
For sure, thank you.
You have so much on your plate right now. You just came back from Tribeca Film Festival.
Yes.
Because you're launching a Sublime documentary.
Amazing.
Yeah, can you tell us a little bit about the documentary?
The documentary is all footage, interviews with everyone who was involved or knew Bradley directly or involved in the story. And it was done by the director who filmed it or directed it. He was not really familiar, Bill Gutenberg. He was not really familiar with, not necessarily he wasn't familiar, he wasn't a big fan.
Yep.
He's from another generation. He's an award-winning director for like war films, documentaries on, real things, not music. So it was a...
Music's a real thing. Come on.
But for him...
Yeah, no, I'm just joking.
I think it was really cool. No, but it's the realest thing.
Yeah.
But for him and his skills, I think it brought another, a whole fresh look into, or insight into the world of music and the world of Sublime, because he really did his research. I mean, he pulled out stuff that we didn't even see or we'd never seen. He had his crew reach out to the fans on social media, and if anyone has anything they want to donate or send in. So it was, I think, a better way to do it, because everyone keeps asking in interviews, why now? Why not back then? A lot of the people that wanted to work on it or were pitching their take on a documentary were up and coming or bros or friends that wanted to do it, or they were fans. And I think this is the best way we went, because the outcome, the end result was amazing. I mean, it's a film. Yeah. And it's not pieced together. It goes along the timeline. It really tells our story from us, and not from a fan's point of view or from media's point of view. It's really raw. It's really us. And they interviewed everybody. It was really cool.
Wow. I just want to give a shout out to Slidebar. If you are hearing some noise in the background, we are the Slidebolt Rock and Roll Kitchen in Orange County. They've been nice enough to let us record here today. And so you're going to hear some plates and things like that. There's a show starting tonight. Efrem's actually playing tonight in town. It's going to be great. But if you're hearing some ambient noise, it's just the bar noise. It's a little loud, but we can hear you fine, which is important.
Oh, good.
Yeah. You sound great.
Thank
Raspy
you.
and
Even with my voice gone, but
it's working for you.
Good.
Yeah. I don't know how you normally sound, but it sounds awesome.
not this bad, but yeah.
Yeah. In this area, we're so close to where so many of those shows went down, right across these railroad tracks. Sublime at the Ice House.
Yes.
Like a few times. I remember skating there.
Yeah.
You know, or in La Mirada at like Chex.
Yeah.
Or like, you know what I mean? Everywhere in this area, every weekend of my life, there was a Sublime show.
Yeah.
Wow.
And you know what's great about the Sublime shows at the smaller places, well, even at the bigger places, it was never the same. I mean, they never sang the same song twice.
Right.
No, it was never the same.
No, that's the coolest thing.
Dude, sometimes it'd be like the most trippy experimental thing I'd ever heard. Like playing with like the pedals for like 20 minutes before they even kicked into a song, and you're just like in a trance. It was like incredible.
Or
like,
the song would change halfway through. He would look at the boys and say something, and all of a sudden it would change it halfway through the song, would turn into another song. Or you'd spend an hour watching Brad restring his guitar because he'd break a guitar string.
So,
and he did not care to sit down on stage and just right in front of the audience restring his guitar.
Just tuning it out loud.
Yeah. It was crazy.
Oh yeah,
That's part of the beauty of it.
It was a crazy era because I mean, it really was like you never knew what you were going to get, but it was always perfect.
Yeah,
like,
you
it was
said that
perfectly,
before.
what it should have been.
Yeah,
in that
It was
situation.
punk rock, and they did not look punk rock or claim punk rock, but they were.
The most
attitude
punk rock band
was punk rock.
Punk rock's kind of like love. We just know it.
Yeah,
when you see it, you know what I mean.
And I always say that certain bands, like even I always refer to NWA as being punk rock, not the music,
Sure.
but the attitude. To be saying "fuck the police." I was like, this is punk rock, And
punk as it
anything
gets.
that just your own attitude and the 1%ers that don't follow the norm, then it's punk rock.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And Sublime certainly didn't follow the norm. almost
Against the grain.
Yeah.
They changed everything forever, forever.
Forever.
Yeah, one of those bands. Did you grow up in this area?
I grew up in San Diego, but I was born in Orange County.
Oh, wow.
And then I lived in Riverside till I was about 12, but I spent every summer in San Diego. And I'd go back and beg my mom, please, let's move to San Diego. So I currently do live in San Diego. I've been back and forth off and on since I moved to Long Beach in '95.
Yeah. Were you? Was Cannabis? This is a Cannabis podcast, so we're going to talk about that
Yes,
real quick, and then we're going to talk about the movie, and then we're going to get you out of here.
Okay.
So we're banging it off today for you. Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, no
And
problem.
then in a little
I
bit,
can
this
do it.
room will be super sweaty, and people will be.
That's the best.
Bodies will be piled up.
Yeah,
It's
I
so
can't- I
it's kind
can't
of
wait.
surreal that we're doing it here. You know?
Yeah,
so
it's like-
it's
I-
rad.
So what was Cannabis around? So you obviously Sublime, I would say, is as recognizable as a music brand as it is, like it's a brand now. It's a brand full on, as it is a cannabis brand.
Oh, yeah.
Like now it's like equally as embraced by both cultures, which are almost one and the same.
To
usually.
me, it's like the Ramones.
Yeah, sure.
You know what I mean?
But it's also the Ramones with
that's-
cannabis.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. They didn't talk about or sing about weed.
Yeah.
Right.
They weren't like the anthem for marijuana. Smoke two joints.
Yeah.
That's not even Sublime's song, but
The
they
Toys.
brought it. The Toys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They brought it back and became their anthem.
That song is huge.
Yeah. And the
Crazy.
Toys, when Sublime signed with Universal, Universal had to really jump through some hoops for
make it
publishing
happen.
because so many samples, ones that you won't even recognize.
Well, the record was so completely different when it came out.
That too.
Because we all had the first tape.
Oh yeah.
The
and
tape
then
version.
there was a second tape and a third tape. I mean, it was always
Yeah.
being changed, but there was a lot of sampling that got sampled over and over and over. But some people didn't want to let them use the samples, but the Toys, they were all about it. They loved it.
Opie was saying like how everybody was like, we're against the Beastie Boys.
Oh my
They were
God.
mad because they couldn't get a sample or something.
Yeah.
I remember him saying that. Like we were just
Yep.
like, fuck them.
And I think Schoolhouse Rocks, Schoolhouse Rocks, they sample. They didn't want to let them because they're a children's company.
Right.
The Gershwin Society, Summertime, that was a big deal. So they had to change. The original was him saying Summertime. They had to change it to Doing Time
Oh wow.
to get away with it. So there was a lot. It was a big headache for Universal.
Was Cannabis always around your family growing up?
Oh yeah, my parents. Yeah, they didn't hide it. They were always happy. The grown-ups were always happy. But it was the '70s.
Yeah.
I remember my mom had the sleeve from the Doobie Brothers album where it's the half-smoked joint hanging on the wall. And then when I got to that age in school when it was, say no to drugs and the Reagan, era.
Yeah.
Then I got really embarrassed. It was totally normal to me until my peers and
Really?
my friends wanted to come over. I remember twice running into the house and pulling certain things off the walls because my parents, that was their generation. They were always smoking weed. And I was the last one to ever even try weed because I didn't have
Really?
curiosity. It was always around me. I remember rolling joints for my mom in her little red rolling machine.
So because it was destigmatized around you, it had the exact opposite
Absolutely.
effects that the squares of the world are afraid of. Yeah.
And when we're kids, we do exactly the opposite of what our parents say don't do, and we're more fascinated by it. So I think by my parents never hiding it, and they were highly functioning stoners. I wasn't curious about it. I remember being like, I'm never smoking pot.
Yeah.
I don't now, only because it doesn't like me.
Yeah.
I wish it did, but I'm really fascinated by CBD. And now that it's not bastardized anymore as reefer madness, and we're starting to learn about the medical benefits of
Absolutely.
CBDs, which is part of
Yeah.
the cannabinoids and
Yeah.
THC taken out. That's really fascinating to me because, my goodness, it's almost maddening that we've been kept in the dark for so long about the medicinal parts of marijuana.
Mm-hmm.
And now you go into a dispensary, and the bigger, really nice ones, you see the medicine line and the rec line, the recreational line, and you see all different kinds of people, like seniors and athletes, and they're in there for the medicine part.
Yeah,
and it's
yeah.
really cool. And you don't see the stoners, and they're finding that there's not medicinal, but harm reduction in addiction, especially opiate addiction.
Before I was on this program, and before I was with the company that we're with now that produces this, I was in medical cannabis, and I ran a program called Goodbye Opioids, and there is.
Oh, we need to talk.
Oh yeah, sure.
Because this is something I'm pursuing.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yes.
We did a lot of events. I'm working with another company called Over the Bridge now, who are fantastic.
There's a place in LA, and I believe in Vegas, called High Sobriety.
Okay.
It's a rehab. And they said, we're not the stoner rehab, but they treat opiate, specifically opiate, because it requires drug replacement therapy
Yep, right.
with CBDs.
Yeah.
And, each person is different as far as the whatever recipe they need or formula, but it's effective in place of methadone.